Queensland's emergency services are training in high-tech and painstaking techniques to help save lives on our roads. Modern car safety features make the chances of surviving road crashes better than ever. But it's the work of rescuers who are first on the scene which is critical. Kathy McLeish reports.
Police regularly attend car crashes, but this one's a first. This time, they're on site before the collision.
Actually, on the ground, a proper crash it is. It's the first one we've done.
Okay, now bring it back. The Civic might go, point X might move that way.
No, that's good.
Working with a stunt crew, the crash unit is about to smash up two perfectly good cars. As the Queensland Police Senior Collision Analyst, it's Dave Stocker's job to help untangle the clues left behind in the wreckage.
We have nearly 50 full-time crash investigators across the state and probably as many part-time crash investigators. So it's a good opportunity to get them in and actually see a real crash and then go and collect the evidence and investigate it.
Forensic crash investigators gather evidence for courts and identify risks in vehicles and on roads that contribute to accidents. Their work is vital for grieving families.
If it's my family that dies in a crash, I want a comprehensive and thorough investigation, and I want all those questions that I have to be answered. So the main thing we push is our investigators do a thorough and comprehensive investigation and leave no stone unturned if they can.
For the last 3 years, he's been rolling out training across the force, and one of the initiatives is an annual conference for investigators from around the state. This year, they're joined by the Queensland Fire and Rescue Service and Queensland Ambulance.
So there's no fuel in the statesman?
No, not at all. It's all been, everything's drained.
That's good then.
The planned collision is like any other crash.
Okay, gentlemen, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Except that every possible angle will be captured on camera. The fact that it's simulated does nothing to reduce the impact. One of these cars was travelling at 50 kilometres an hour, the other at 25. Not high speeds, but enough to kill or injure. The conference is an opportunity for investigators to share knowledge and also learn about new technology. Can I get you to explain to us what you're doing now?
What we're going to be doing is downloading the airbag module of the vehicle. Airbag modules on many modern-day cars record some crash data. So we plug in through that and it'll give us some data on the crash.
A bit like a black box?
A bit like a black box, but not quite the information you would in that. But it can give us up to 5 seconds prior to the crash, which mightn't sound much, but for a crash investigator, that's a long period of time. There we go. We've got up to about just under 18 Gs during the crash there. So it's a fair bit of force. This is all in milliseconds, which shows you the average crash takes about 200 milliseconds or so, which is 0.2 of a second is the length of a crash. There's quite a sudden stop. It's telling me there.
They're going to get up to about 40 k's and actually lock the brakes on the police car and skid the car down the road. They're actually measuring the surface friction of the road, and that's an important thing for us to work out so we can work out what speeds the vehicle were doing at the time of the crash.
And it's important to do it on the same surface, no doubt.
At the same time, as close as we can to the time of the crash. Originally, we got the teams in to take all the scene photographs before anything was moved. So what they're doing is creating a line plan of the actual damage profile to show how much crush occurred to each car and also the direction of force going into each car.
This collision and its evidence will become an invaluable training tool. It's a first for the police, but the Queensland Fire and Rescue Service is an old hand at smashing cars. It's destroyed more than 60 to find out how best to rescue people from wrecks. A drop from 40 metres causes the same damage as a high-speed collision. Firefighters develop the fastest and safest ways of rescuing survivors. With every new car on the market, there's a new challenge.
The technology changes in the materials used, the construction methods, the safety systems in the vehicles are certainly making the cars safer in a crash. However, the human body is still built the same. We haven't been engineered any differently yet ourselves.
The seriousness of the accidents are actually getting worse and their injuries are actually getting worse, but people are still alive.
At the conference, the services are working together on a new system to save lives. First, they'll open a space to get medics to crawl into the wreck with the victims. Then they'll move the car if it makes the rescue faster.
The big key thing is that it's an improvement of patient care. We can actually access 180 degree of the patient, whereas leaving the car in place, not only do you have increased time on scene, but you can only actually treat about 90 degree of the patient.
Now they've seen the new technique, forensic investigators will discuss ways to preserve evidence, save lives and move cars.
Every accident is a crime scene to these guys. So by us vehicle relocating, we actually destroy crucial evidence. And so they can go away and think about it and come up with a good process and a policy that we could follow, and so we're actually not wrecking all the evidence that's there. And that could be as simple as just taking a few photos or videoing what we're actually doing.
The science and research into road crashes is sadly a growing industry, and the experts have all had enough.
Get there in one piece. I don't want to do another job. You know, I mean, I've got plenty on the run at the moment, and I don't need any more.
Kathy McLeish reporting.